You are already where you need to be for this, lying down, warm, the light off, nothing left to do today. So let it be simple tonight. This is a story about a train. Nothing happens in it that anyone has to worry about, and nobody is waiting at the end of it, and you do not have to stay awake for it. If you fall asleep somewhere in the middle of it, in the warm dark, with the country going past, that is the whole idea. So let the room be the room, and let the story start somewhere else. Late at night, at a small station at the edge of a town. The station is small. It sits at the edge of a town that has already gone to sleep for the night. The shops dark, the windows empty. Only a few lamps burn on the platform, high up on black iron posts, casting yellow circles on the concrete that fade into the dark at their edges. The air smells like cold stone and coal dust, and the particular freshness that comes just before snow. Your footsteps sound sharp and lonely as you walk the length of the platform. There is no one else waiting, no one to see you off, no one to ask where you are going or when you will return. You have nothing with you, no suitcase to drag across the gaps between the platform and the train, no ticket to fumble for in your pockets. Just the clothes you are wearing and the tiredness in your shoulders, heavy and familiar. You left the day behind you somewhere back on the road, and you do not need to pick it up again. Not tonight. Not for this journey. The train is already at the platform. It must have arrived early, or perhaps you are late, but the time does not matter. The hours are soft tonight. The engine sits breathing up ahead, wisps of steam rising white against the black sky, drifting up to join the low clouds. The carriages stretch back along the track, their windows rectangles of warm gold light in the darkness. You can see the silhouettes of sleeping passengers already settled inside, heads leaning against the glass, bodies slack. The doors stand open. There is no conductor at the steps to check your name or your destination, or to stamp anything. You simply step up, and the train accepts you. The floor of the carriage is a little higher than you expect. You feel the slight give of the suspension as you put your weight on it. The way the metal breathes, the air inside wraps around you immediately. It is warm, significantly warmer than the platform, and it smells of old wool, of upholstery that has been sat upon by 1,000 travelers, of metal that has been heated by the engine and holds that warmth against the night. It smells of dust settled in carpets and the faint, clean scent of the soap used to wash the windows. It smells safe. You walk down the aisle. The train rocks gently under your feet, even while it is still stopped, as if it is already dreaming of movement, already swaying in anticipation. The seats are wide, upholstered in a dark green fabric that is worn soft in the center of each cushion. You find one by the window. It is deep. When you sit, the cushion yields slowly and holds you. It does not bounce back. It simply accepts your weight and keeps it. The fabric of the seat is worn smooth in the center, the nap of the wool flattened by years of passengers, settling in just as you have settled. You run your hand over it and feel the grain of the weave, the slight roughness, the warmth that has been stored in the fibers by the heating vents running beneath the carriage. On the seat beside you, someone has left a blanket folded in a neat square. It is gray, woven, a little rough to the touch, but clean. You lift it and unfold it across your lap. It settles over your legs with a weight that is surprising. It is heavier than it looks. Dense wool that traps the heat immediately, pressing down with a gentle, constant pressure. You pull it up to your chest. It smells of lavender and cedar, the scent of storage closets in old stations. The window is large, running from the level of your shoulder up to the luggage rack. The glass is cool when you lean your temple against it. It is slightly dirty, flecked with the dried rain of other journeys, smudged where foreheads have rested before yours. But through it, you can see the platform growing dim as your eyes adjust to the interior light. Your breath fogs a small, perfect circle on the pane. You watch it appear, grow opaque, and then slowly fade back to clarity, the moisture running in tiny rivulets toward the frame. Somewhere far up ahead, a whistle blows. It is a low, thoughtful note, not urgent, not demanding. Then you feel the train take a breath. The carriage shifts. The pull is gentle at first, just a lean, and then the engine finds its grip on the rails, and the train begins to move. The platform starts to slide backward. The lamps pass one by one, each one throwing a stripe of light across the seats, across your hands, across the blanket, and then passing away into the dark behind you. The station building recedes. The empty platform ends. Then there is only the dark countryside and the sound of the wheels. Click, 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 click. They find their rhythm quickly. The train is not in a hurry. It moves at a pace that suggests it has all night, which it does. The wheels say the same word over and over, a steady heartbeat of metal on metal. You do not have to do anything to keep this rhythm. You do not have to push or steer or watch the road. Someone else is driving. The destination is hours away, and it is not your concern. The train knows the way. You do not have to watch for the stops. You do not have to remember the route. You only have to sit here in the warmth, with the blanket over your legs and the cool glass at your shoulder. The carriage is half empty. A few other passengers sleep in their seats, scattered rows ahead of you and behind. A man in a dark coat 3 rows up has his head tilted back, mouth slightly open, swaying with the motion like a reed in water. A woman further down has curled herself against the window with a pillow made from her bag, her breathing slow and even. They are strangers. They do not need anything from you. You do not need anything from them. The space between the seats is generous, wide enough that you do not have to tuck your elbows in. The aisle stretches ahead, carpeted in a pattern that is faded from red to brown, lit by small lamps that hang from the ceiling in brass fixtures, one every few rows, casting pools of warm light that overlap like scales. Time passes in the rhythm of the wheels. The train crosses a bridge. You feel the change before you hear it. The sound hollows out. The wheels begin to drum against the floor instead of murmur. A deeper, emptier sound that resonates in your chest. You look out the window and see nothing below but black space. The night opened up beneath you, the distant glint of water far down in the ravine. Then the sound fills back in as the bridge ends and the tracks return to earth, and the wheels resume their soft clicking against the solid ground. You pass a village. The houses come up close to the tracks, dark shapes with dark windows, gardens sleeping under the frost. One window still has a light on, downstairs, yellow and steady. You see a kitchen table briefly illuminated, and a chair, and the white edge of a refrigerator, and then it is gone. Someone is awake in there, perhaps making tea, perhaps just waiting for the kettle to boil before climbing the stairs to bed. Then the village ends, and there are fields again, invisible in the dark, marked only by the absence of lights, by the open feel of the darkness rushing past. The door at the end of the carriage opens with a soft pneumatic sigh. A man steps through. He is older, perhaps 60, with a cap pulled low on his forehead and a uniform that looks worn soft at the elbows. He moves slowly, without urgency, accustomed to the sway of the floor. He is the night conductor, making his round. He walks the length of the aisle, steadying himself occasionally with a hand on the back of a seat, not because he needs to, but out of habit. His shoes are black and polished, but dulled by the dust of the rails. He carries a small leather punch in his hand, swinging slightly with his steps, or perhaps it is just a watch chain catching the dim light. He stops beside your seat. He looks at you not with inspection, but with a mild recognition, as if he has seen 1,000 passengers in this exact state of half sleep, and knows there is nothing required of them. His face is lined, patient. His eyes are kind in a distant, professional way, the way of someone who has learned that the best kindness on a night train is to expect nothing. "Long way yet," he says. His voice is low, accustomed to speaking in the dark without waking those who sleep. It is a voice that is practiced being small in the vastness of the night. Hours to go, nobody has to be awake for it. He reaches up with a slow arm and turns the small brass knob on the lamp above your seat. The light dims gradually, not snapping off, but sinking, becoming a glow, and then a faint ember, and then just a warmth in the glass that you can see if you look directly at it, but which casts no shadow. When he turns the knob, you see his hand in the dim light, the skin dry, the movements precise but unhurried, as if turning down lights is a form of caretaking that requires no rush, no speed, only the steady turning of brass against brass. He moves to the next seat and the next, turning down the lamps one by one with the same unhurried motion. The carriage grows darker. The windows become mirrors now, showing the warm interior and the sleeping passengers, and beyond that reflection, the dark country rolling by, the two images layered one over the other, real and reflection indistinguishable in the dimness. He moves through to the next carriage. The door closes behind him with a soft click, a vacuum seal settling into place. You are alone again with the rhythm and the dark. The train rocks you. It is a gentle motion, side to side, a cradle of metal and momentum. The floor rises and falls in a slow wave, left, right, left, right. The heat of the carriage has settled into your clothes now, into the wool of the blanket. It is a dry warmth, comforting, holding off the winter that presses against the windows. Outside, the world is passing without your participation. A crossing light blinks red in a field, mechanical, steady, guarding a road where no cars wait at this hour. A farmhouse stands back from the tracks, its windows dark, a barn beside it massing black against the slightly lighter black of the sky. Then a stand of trees, their branches bare, black filigree against the stars. Then more fields, the furrows hidden by the night, the soil frozen and waiting for spring. You pass over a river. The water is black and moving fast, reflecting the stars where it is not covered by ice along the banks. The sound of the train changes here too, becoming wet somehow, the wheels sending up a different echo from the rails that cross the water, a sound like a sigh, then back to the fields. A dog barks somewhere, 3 sharp reports that cut through the rhythm of the wheels and then fade, absorbed by the dark. A church steeple passes, invisible but for the dark shape it cuts against the slightly lighter clouds, a finger pointing upward into the snow that is beginning to fall. Rain starts. You hear it first as a change in the sound of the wheels, a softening, a hush that falls over the metallic click. And then you see it on the glass, small drops racing sideways in the wind of the train's passage. The window gets wet. The world outside dissolves into streaks of light and dark, the farmhouse lights blurring into long yellow brushstrokes. The rain drums softly, irregularly against the glass. It is a sound that asks nothing of you. It is simply there, keeping time with the wheels, adding another layer to the night, washing the glass clean and wet again, clean and wet again. The train enters a tunnel. The sound closes in immediately. The wheels become loud, enclosed, a rushing in a hollow space that surrounds the carriage on all sides. The windows go black. There is nothing to see but the reflection of the dim cabin, your own shape in the seat, the blanket over your legs, the vague shapes of the other passengers. The air feels closer here, thicker, warmed by the breath of everyone in the carriage. The rocking seems deeper, as if the train is sinking into something. Then the tunnel ends, and the train is out in the open country once more, and the rain has turned to snow. You see it in the light of the next farmhouse, white flakes suddenly visible in the beam of the train's headlamp, rushing toward you and veering away. They hit the window and stick for a moment, melting immediately on the warm glass, leaving small trails of water that run sideways. The snow comes down more heavily. The train plows through it, unhurried, sure. The sound of the wheels becomes muffled, soft, as if the world is being packed in cotton, as if the tracks are being buried even as you ride over them. You do not have to follow the route. You do not have to know which town is which. The names of the stations do not matter. The train will stop where it stops, and it will continue where it continues, and you can let whole stretches of the journey go past unnoticed. You can miss the next town entirely. You can sleep through the county line. You can let your attention drift out the window and not bring it back. You really do not have to know any of this. You do not have to remember that there was a river, or a dog, or a farmhouse with one light on. You do not have to hold on to the names of these places. They will exist whether you notice them or not. The train passes through them regardless. Your attention is a gift you can give or withhold, and tonight you do not have to give it. You can let your attention fall like the snow falls, without aim, without purpose, just settling where it settles and melting away. The driver is awake up front, watching the signals, his hands steady on the controls. The conductor is awake in the next carriage, moving through the dark with his slow steps, turning down the last of the lamps. The train knows the way. The rhythm of the wheels says this. It says you do not have to arrive, not tonight, not for any of this. You are being carried. The motion does the work. The heat does the work. The night outside is large and dark and has its own business. The snow falling on fields and forests and roads where no one drives, and you are inside, moving through it, warm and small and still. You do not have to get off at the next stop. You do not have to get off at any stop. You can ride this train all the way through the night, and if you are asleep when it slows for a station, that is fine. If you are asleep when it starts again, that is also fine. The train goes on. It goes on through the dark, over the bridges, through the tunnels, past the sleeping houses. It goes on while you sleep. Your head grows heavy against the cool glass. The blanket is warm over your chest. The seat holds you without complaint. The train sways around a long curve, leaning into it, and you lean with it, held by the cushion, by the weight of the wool. Your thoughts begin to loosen. They are not important thoughts. They are just the residue of the day, the small concerns that seemed large a few hours ago, falling away like the towns fall away, like the fields fall away, like the snow falls away behind the train. You do not have to catch them. You do not have to hold on. You do not have to remember where you are going. There is no arrival you need to be awake for. No one is waiting at the station to ask you questions, or hand you a schedule, or expect you to step off with your bag and your plan and your alertness. You can miss the end of this story. You can miss the rest of the night. You can let the words go now. The carriage is very dark. The lamps have gone down to almost nothing, just embers in the brass fixtures. The other passengers are only shapes in the dark, breathing in their own rhythms, each in their own warm bubble. The snow is thick outside, white in the darkness, swirling in the wind of the train's passage. The train moves through it steadily, the sound of the wheels now very soft, very far away, a heartbeat heard through layers of wool and sleep. You can let the story go now. You can let the words drift away, like the snow drifts past the window. The train will keep moving. The conductor will make his rounds again, walking slowly through the dark. The driver will watch the tracks ahead, his eyes accustomed to the night. The snow will fall on the fields. The villages will sleep. You do not have to hear the rest. You do not have to know which town comes next. You do not have to stay awake for any of it. Just the rocking now. Just the warmth. Just the train going on through the night, carrying you on and on into sleep.